rough, we ain't gonna hide. Up until it's swollen, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules in this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In the heart of the struggle, we dare to dream. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track.
Another Queen Ahmadiyyah production.
Haze on the corner, they talking real loud. Spreading on light, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Put my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Up until it's swollen, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules in this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In the heart of the struggle, we dare to dream. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. Haze on the corner, they talking real loud. Spreading on light, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Put my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Up until it's swollen, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules in this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In the heart of the struggle, we dare.
All right, hello everyone. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur show. I'm your host, Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur, and this is your morning wake-up call. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. Also, don't forget to double check and make sure that you're still subscribed, especially if you have not been receiving the notifications. Okay, so I know I'm on a bit earlier than usual, but I have another live to do shortly and I have some things to do. Okay, so here we are. So that all being said, before we get into it, before we get into the war updates, we got to talk about these 8 children who lost their lives. So we're going to get into that momentarily. But before we do, let's have a brief word from my sponsor at 12 Tribes. In the meantime, everybody hit the like button. Thank you in advance.
Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
Okay, so don't forget you can purchase 12 Tribes hair oil at Etsy.com. Just look for Lisa Crafts. You can also find it at Walmart.com. And don't forget that she also sells beard oil. All right, so hello, Love Christy. Dark Tubes in the virtual building with the people. All right, Bronze Flat Power God, I see you, beloved. Okay, so with that all being said, I guess my moderators aren't awake yet, but hopefully they'll be here soon. Now, with that all being said, as I was telling you all, there is a father who murdered 8 children yesterday in Louisiana, and 7 of them were his own. Okay, very tragic turn of events. I don't know what the motive is. The police don't even seem to know what the motive is, but so we're going to get into it. Okay, so likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance.
Now to Shreveport, Louisiana, where there's a massive investigation after a mass shooting that left 8 children dead. And police are calling it a domestic violence attack and say the shootings took place at multiple locations there. And officers have identified the gunman as a guy right here on your screen, Shamar Elkins. Officers say that he was the father of 7 of those victims. Jen Sullivan is following this case and has more.
A horrific tragedy rocking the community of Shreveport, Louisiana. A series of shootings Sunday, leaving 8 children dead.
My heart is saddened.
The victims killed range in age from 1 to 14, according to police. Investigators say the shooter is related to at least some of the victims and are calling this a domestic violence attack.
7 of the 8 children that were killed, we do believe to be his children.
Police say the shooting rampage began just after 6 a.m. Sunday. Victims were found in 3 homes. The suspect carjacked a vehicle and led police on a chase.
It rattles the entire city. This is something that, when something like this, it affects us all.
The shooter was killed in a shootout with police.
This is nothing but pure evil. Over 30% of our crimes and 30% of our murders in the city of Shreveport are domestic in relation. Now that number has gone up.
There have been at least 114 mass shootings in the United States so far this year, according to the Gun Violence Archive, and this marks the deadliest shooting in 2 years. U.S. House Speaker Mike Johnson, who represents the Shreveport area, released a statement saying, quote, "We're holding the victims, their families and loved ones, and our Shreveport community close in our thoughts and prayers during this incredibly difficult time." I'm Jen Sullivan reporting.
Well, police have not identified the victims just yet. 3 other people were wounded in that attack, 2 women and a teenager.
Okay, that's absolutely nefarious. With that all been said, I'm going to go to this next report from KTBS channel 3 because they have a bit more information. But this is really sad, and I wonder what made him just lose it. Did he have mental health issues? Like, I don't understand. This is all real crazy. Okay, so let's go to the next footage.
Like a artillery weapon, or with a, how they young guys would speak. It wasn't that. And that's what I don't know. So we need answers.
The Shreveport community reacting in grief and disbelief after a tragic Sunday morning domestic violence attack has taken the lives of 8 children. 2 women and another child were also hurt in the shooting spree. Police say this man on your screen, Shamar Elkins, shot and killed 7 of his own children this morning and a cousin before stealing a car and making a run across the river. It all ended with the suspect dead after gunfire in a Bossier City neighborhood. According to the New York Times, Elkins, an Army veteran, struggled recently with mental health issues and, quote, dark thoughts.
Live and on your side. This is KTBS 3, 9 o'clock news hour on KPXJ CW21.
Good evening, Architects. Welcome to KTBS 3 News Weekend. I'm Madison Edwards. That tragedy in Shreveport's Cedar Grove neighborhood tops our news this evening, and we now know the names of the victims in this morning's deadly shooting rampage. The Caddo Parish Coroner's Office says the 8 children killed were 3 boys and 5 girls, ranging in ages from 3 to 11 years old. They're identified as 3-year-old Jayla Elkins, 5-year-old Shayla Elkins, 6-year-old Kayla Pugh, 6-year-old Kadarian Snow, 7-year-old Layla Pugh, 5-year-old Braylon Snow, 10-year-old Marcaden Pugh, and 11-year-old Shariah Snow. Also new tonight, surveillance video showing the suspect, Shamar Elkins, running from the scene of this morning's mass shooting. Liza Denning lives 2 doors down from the deadly crime scene.
In the cameras, when I roll back, I see him running from the house after the gunshots came out. And later on, he ran out the house. He ran toward the tire shop.
And we have team coverage tonight. Daniel Brown shows us how some in the community are leaning on faith and the power of prayer tonight. KTBS 3's Riley Curry and Brenda Teal have been in Cedar Grove following every development today, and we'll get to them in just a moment. But first, we want to start with the community grappling with this unthinkable incident. My co-anchor, Daniel Brown, joins us live from a prayer vigil that was held tonight in Shreveport. Daniel.
Yes, Madison, the trap known as an establishment for good times and partying turned to a somber moment for reflection for several members of the community coming out for a prayer vigil in remembrance of those victims from the Cedar Grove tragedy. Today, several pastors coming out along with Councilman Alan Jackson to give their thoughts about the tragic turn of events on this Sunday here in Shreveport and reflecting on what's ahead. But speaking with the manager of the trap, Leon Bell, him and his wife, April, coming together, a joint decision to hold this prayer vigil is today.
Well, I was born and raised in Cedar Grove, so that was the neighborhood I grew up in. So I get it, and I just want to, it don't even have to be Cedar Grove. It can be Cooper Road, Annandale, Lakeside. All communities, all neighborhoods should feel the tragic of today.
They felt like this was not a time to party. This was a time for healing. This was a time for prayer. And this is time to bring the community back together. Him being from Cedar Grove, I applaud his opportunity. I made some phone calls. I looped the chief of police in just to make sure that we can all come together.
So there was also a call to action for several pastors out here to get out of the building and more into the streets to engage their community more. So maybe seeing more action from a faith-based perspective in the streets of Shreveport. Madison, covering this tragic shooting here in Shreveport. Daniel Brown, back to you.
All right. Thank you, Daniel. We appreciate your report. Now to Riley Curry, who is at the first crime scene where police found the bodies of 8 children. Riley.
Madison, tragedy has truly swept the 300th block of West 79th Street all day. The Shreveport community is mourning the loss of 8 children who died in a domestic violence mass murder.
We have a hurting community. We have hurting families. This is a tragic situation, maybe the worst tragic situation we've ever had in Shreveport.
Around 6 a.m. this morning, Shreveport police arrived to a home on the 300th block of West 79th Street near Linwood Ave. Inside and outside the home, 8 young children between the ages of 3 years old to 11 years old were found dead, many with gunshot wounds to the head. 2 victims who were also in the home survived the attack, an adult woman who was shot, and a 13-year-old who now has broken limbs from jumping out of a window. Some Shreveport police officers say they've never seen a crime scene so brutal.
I just don't know what to say. My heart is just taken back. I want to let the community know that all of my resources are out here processing every piece of evidence.
This is a extensive scene, unlike anything I know most of us have ever seen in our career.
The identified shooter is Shamar Elkins. 8 of the kids he murdered were his own. Across Linwood Ave on Harrison Street, Elkins also shot another adult woman in the face. She is now in critical condition and is believed to be the mother of some of the children. A man said to be her father below Mays was at the scene this morning.
I was just with my grandbabies the other day, and we was having so much fun. And I say for any grandparent out there, be happy. Be happy with your grandkids and have fun with them. I'm just praying that everything will be all right for my daughter. She's in the hospital right now. She's fighting.
After the shootings, Elkins stole a vehicle, fled to Bossier, and was later shot there by Shreveport police. Investigators believe the shooting on Harrison Street happened first, then Elkins came to the home behind me. Police are saying this is a domestic situation, but they are still looking to uncover the motive. Reporting in Shreveport, I'm Riley Curry, KTBS 3 News.
Riley, thank you very much for all the work you've done today to bring us the latest on this event.
Okay, prayers and condolences to the families of the victims. This is very sad. And to think that he did that to not only his own children, but another child as well, and then went from place to place. This all sounds very demonic, and they're talking about domestic. That's absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. So what do you all think? Danger says you didn't get a notification, beloved. It would behoove you to double check and make sure that you're still subscribed. Because sometimes I told you all, they'll unsubscribe people. I see they unsubscribed some people since yesterday. Okay, so just do your due diligence. But really, thoughts and prayers to the families, friends, and loved ones of the victims. That is very sad. Absolutely awful. Okay, so with that all been said, let's get into the reports on the war, the update from the war, because this all getting real crazy. Now, I'm sure by now you all have heard that the U.S. took over an Iranian commercial vehicle, not a military, not vehicle, but a ship, not a military ship, but a commercial ship. So they're attacking the civilians now. Like, make it all make sense. And Trump thought he was really doing something when he came out bragging about it. Okay, so let's get into it. And there's video that I'm going to show you of how they were going through everything. Okay, they were just going through the items on the ship. Clearly, they were looking for the oil. That's what they wanted. Okay, so here we go. Let me bring up this first report. Here we go. Like so, everyone, please don't forget to like and share. Thank you in advance.
The United States just quietly fired the opening shot in a new oil war, and it happened right off the coast of Venezuela. Just today, the U.S. forces seized another oil tanker tied to Venezuela after Trump ordered a total blockade on sanctioned ships going in and out of the country. And this isn't just about one ship. What's really going on is Trump's going straight after what's called the shadow fleet, basically these ghost ships who move oil from places like Venezuela, Iran, and Russia by turning off their trackers, changing their names, swapping flags, and pretending oil came from somewhere else. And here's the key part. The U.S. isn't just stopping these ships. They're taking the oil and gathering intel. That means mapping the entire network. Venezuela lives off oil. It's almost all their export money. So even a few seizures hit the regime where it actually hurts. And this isn't just about Venezuela either, because a lot of that oil ends up in China. So this move sends a clear message way beyond Latin America. And Trump's strategy here is simple. Follow the money, shut down the shadow system, and squeeze hostile regimes without sending troops anywhere. This isn't some random oil tanker story. It's the start of an economic pressure that could blow up how sanctioned countries survive. And it keeps going. A lot of powerful players are about to realize how fragile that system really is. Let me know what you think about this in the comment section. Do you think this is 4D chess? Do you think there's
First of all, let me just tell you all, I told you the other day. Hold on, Clutchman says no audio. Beloved, refresh your screen. I hope you can hear me. Somebody tell him in the chat to refresh his screen because he's not hearing the audio apparently. Okay, now the thing is, Trump, his whole target is really China. Like I told you all, I would love to see if they're going to try to take one of China's ships. And at the end of the day, Trump is very concerned about BRICS. I'm going to prove that with receipts. So let's continue. Because I actually told you all this days ago. I told you all that he was worried about the loss of the value of the U.S. dollar. If we don't have oil to back the U.S. dollar, then we have nothing. Okay, the petrodollar will just be basically almost extinct. Okay, let's continue.
It started with Operation Epic Fury, which was 5 weeks of bombing, and now the U.S. is moving to economic fury. You've heard that term used by the Treasury Secretary and some others in the administration. And as part of economic fury, the U.S. is imposing the blockade of Iranian ports and preventing ships from going into and out of Iranian ports. But now, additionally, it's going to be boarding and seizing oil tankers and commercial vessels that are tied to Iran. So not necessarily even in the Middle East. This could happen in the Pacific. It could happen in other, what the military calls areas of operation. And that is designed to really crack down on these ships that help fund the Iranian regime and therefore the Iranian offensive capabilities and the war. We don't know we know this is going to happen in the coming days. We don't have a timeline of like when they'll start jumping on ships, but it could look a lot like what they did with respect to Venezuela, where they have the Justice Department involved, the Coast Guard, law enforcement authorities, and they actually get seizure warrants for some of these tankers. So we could see in a few days the U.S. seizing tankers and potentially even trying to keep the oil that they are seizing on board.
I remember they were running after those, tracing those Venezuelan ships.
Okay, and that's exactly what they did. That is absolutely what they did. They went on there to get the oil. And now I'm going to go to that footage in just a moment. Likes up, everyone. Please don't forget to like and share. Thank you in advance. Yeah, I love Christy. They absolutely are playing with fire. This is not going to turn out well, I promise you. And Iran has already vowed retaliation, and there's no telling what they have up their sleeve. But I definitely think they have something up their sleeve, especially after I listened to this guy's TikTok video.
Military is getting ready to board Iranian ships to seize their oil. Our military is preparing to board ships that are Iranian ships and seize the Iranian oil. There's a word for that. It's called theft. This is stealing. We can't do this. This is stealing. You can't board someone else's ship and take their oil. Just like my neighbor can't come into my house and take whatever they want. That is stealing. It is theft. Our government is using our military to commit theft. We are about to open ourselves up to not just be hated by the world, but to be retaliated against by the whole world, because we are stealing from a sovereign country that we attacked. If we go through with this, and the reports are that the escalation is supposed to happen soon, this is theft.
Listen, I want you all to think about what I told you all when Trump first got in office, that Trump is running this country like a mafia boss. That's exactly what he's doing. Okay, and what he's doing, yeah, it is stealing, but it's actually piracy. Okay, this is piracy. That's what it is. But Trump has so much noise to talk about the Somalians. I want you all to pay attention. Okay, that's exactly what he's doing.
This is huge breaking news coming in. A retired U.S. Army colonel speaking to ABC warned that Iran uses infrared systems instead of traditional radar. American fighters like the F-35 are not designed to face these systems, and Iranian airspace is no longer safe for U.S. fighter jets. Any mission would now require extra electronic warfare support, standoff weapons, and careful flight routes. Iran's strength is its layered air defense network, passive sensors, mountains, and prepared missile sites. Listen this.
Colonel Gagnor, what does this mean for U.S. jet strikes and other aerial missions moving forward?
The skies are not as safe as they perhaps presumed. My guess is that this was daytime. My guess is that that the Iranians used what's called infrared. So they used detection that's passive, that used heat differences. The president did say that their radars roll down, and so he probably can claim that legitimately. But the fact that there are still anti-aircraft kinds of capabilities that are based on heat temperature differences.
Now the message is clear. Iran may not dominate the skies, but it can make its airspace dangerous, costly, and difficult for U.S. fighter jets to operate in freely. Make sure to follow for latest updates.
It's not an easy thing to do, but we've been speaking to people inside Iran, and what they've had to tell us is fascinating. Some Iranians are trying to communicate with the outside world despite a total internet blackout that's lasted more than 6 weeks. They've been sending us posts and direct messages. We've even had phone conversations. You know, it's like living in limbo. The ceasefire means people are caught between peace and war, and that's a difficult place to be.
صدای پرنده ها دوباره بلند شده و با تدی و کلایی اومدیم پیاده روی زندگی دوباره برگشته.
The U.S.-Israeli bombing campaign has really frightened Iranians, and the strike on a girls' school in the city of Menab has outraged them. Yet their reactions have differed. Some people are going to pro-government rallies. They're holding them every single night in Tehran.
اگه من حجاب ندارم سمت ایران نباشم ایران وطن منه ایران که وطن این همه آدمای مذهبی نیست منم دارم تو ایران زندگی میکنم
اگه قرار خونه منو بزنن منم باید توش باشم بمیرم حالا به شهادت برسم هرچی
Others have succumbed to feelings of helplessness. You know, the broad majority in Iran do not support the regime, but they're stuck between the threat of war and a government that demands total obedience.
مردم که واقعا دوست دارن این اتفاق بیفته اینا نمونن و همه امیدشون خیلی یا هر کسی که من میشناسم تو هر سطح و تو هر جایگاهی همینطوریه ولی واقعا این بلا تکلیفی خیلی اذیت کننده است.
If you want to see more, search Voices from Iran on Sky News' YouTube channel.
All right, so the people that are against the regime, like you said, they're caught between a rock and a hard place. I mean, Trump came out initially acting as though he was trying to help these people. He's not. If he's talking about blowing them back or bombing them back to the Stone Age, calling them animals, he's speaking about them in general, collectively. Because he never specified the military. He was talking about all of them. He doesn't care anything about those people. Trump is full of greed and hatred, and all he wants is that oil. Okay, and to make sure that China doesn't become a global superpower and move above the United States. So anyway, let's get into this next clip. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance.
Today they striking ships. Next, they'll be blowing up apartment buildings. Listen what I'm telling you. Do this look like two countries trying to work a peace deal? This is a full-out war, folks. It just look a little different. I'm going to tell you something. It's almost like Iran is daring the United States to blow up their shit because Trump can hit their power grid. He can mess up their water supply. He can knock out a bunch of bridges. He can do that. But it's like Iran is welcoming them to do it. Like, just do it. I dare you to do it. That type of shit. When people act like that, man, they got to trick up their fucking sleeve because they willing to lose everything for whatever's next to come. They got some countries on their side. It's been some things delivered to these folks. This shit deep. And that's why a lot of people need to pay attention to this shit that's going on over there. Yeah, it's causing you financial problems, but it also can harm you too. Because whatever these folk got planned or however this shit break out, it's going to be fucked up. That's why I'm telling folks, man, stack up on your shit, man. Go get you some, just get you some things that can hold you over for a little while. Because this right here that's going on over there in the Middle East done tuck a spin that nobody ain't see coming, man. Nobody. It's enemies all around this motherfucker. If something happened over there, it's a lot of countries over there that can help them out in that region. Shit go out over here, boy, we fucked. And it's going to take a long time to get everybody back on their feet over here. We do have a power grid. We did have an open fucking border. They told you it's people in this country that can be from anywhere ready to take an order. The shit is real, man. I don't think them folks going to get to that peace table. I don't think it's going to be no deal signed. This shit is wild. Y'all step out, though. Get it out the
Not get it out the mud, but you know what? He's right because there isn't going to be any peace talks because Iran is over it at this point. They've already said it. They're not having any talks at this point. Now, let's go. We're going to get to that in a second, but let's go to what they're reporting about Russia.
Russia has just issued a chilling warning to Israel. Since Israel announced plans to take full control, the world has been in uproar condemning the move. Now Russia has stepped in, declaring that if Israel dares to proceed, Moscow will not stay silent and could launch severe action. Israel is now on high alert. Iran and Pakistan have also joined the warning, stating that if Israel makes any aggressive move toward, they will respond with strong measures. Meanwhile, the Western stance is shifting. Australia has announced it will officially recognize Palestine as a state, and Germany has halted all exports to Israel in protest. Yet one nation remains firmly in Israel's corner, the United States, standing by every decision it makes. The stakes couldn't be higher. If Israel enters God, Russia and Iran could unite for a large-scale military move, pushing the world dangerously close to a global conflict. So the question remains, after such overwhelming condemnation, will Israel still go ahead? And will the world finally take decisive action? Comment your thoughts. And in the end,
Now listen to this, because Trump is so ridiculous. He doesn't even know which countries belong to BRICS, but yet he's so concerned about BRICS. Okay, please pay attention. He's concerned about the BRICS nations, and like I said, the loss of value of the U.S. dollar, which is already in the tank. But he doesn't even know which countries are involved in the BRICS nations. Now, what kind of president is that?
Is going on with Trump. First, he said this about Spain.
Thank you, sir. What can we expect of the countries in NATO that spend the least amount of money, like Spain, France, below the 5%?
Spain is very low. And yet, are they a BRICS nation?
What?
They're a BRICS nation, Spain. You know what a BRICS nation is? You'll figure it out.
Now he's saying this about China.
He said you'll figure it out. First of all, he needs to figure it out himself, because Spain is not even a darn BRICS nation. You see how stupid he is? Spain is not even a BRICS nation. Okay, it's BRICS, but he thinks, I guess, the S is for Spain. No, you idiots. Okay, do y'all hear this? It's for South Africa, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. Oh, my Lord, he is such an embarrassment to the whole country. Well, let's continue.
BRICS, the BRICS nations, I think that's breaking up very rapidly. We said that if they're going to go and do anything to undermine the dollar, that includes China. I don't even know that they're a member of BRICS, but they had a few nations get together to try and play cute. And
Donny boy, the C in BRICS is China. China! Trump is terrified of BRICS. He's constantly talking about it. He is so paranoid that it's going to completely destroy the US dollar. In my opinion, he's accelerating the US into financial oblivion.
He absolutely is. He's such an idiot. But, this is all his own doing. Now, he didn't even know that the C was for China. Really think about that for just a second. Really think about, if it wasn't for China, if the C in BRICS didn't stand for China, who in the hell would it stand for? Is he crazy? Of course he is, and I'm so glad you asked, okay? But let's continue, because this is all sad. This is all just sad. Speaking of China, here's what they had to say. Hold on, I absolutely cannot. Red White Entertainment said the petrodollar is already bothered. Yes, it's already in the tank, but it's going to get worse.
Thousands of videos in order from Congress. And what have we learned? Well, Democrats accused the Attorney General of a cover-up. The Attorney General calls a senior congressman a washed-up loser lawyer. Victims sitting in the room watching their accusers' names blacked out, while their own names, their photographs, their suffering are leaked to the public. Welcome to accountability, Western style. For years, the Western elites, the Western men, have stood on what they call the moral high ground. They lecture other countries on human rights, on fair courts, on the worth of every person. They send diplomats to lecture former colonies about the rule of law, as if that law were a custom-made suit only for a rich man. So here's the uncomfortable truth the West does not want to face. The Epstein archive is not just one file on one criminal. It is a CT scan of the whole system, the courts, the banks, the politicians, even some academic institutions. Not evil in some movie sense, silent partners in real world sense. Silent through doing nothing, through convenient forgetfulness, through the quiet belief that some men are too powerful to ever be brought down. And yet these same institutions continue to grade the rest of the world on human rights, continue to issue report cards on judicial reform, continue to act as if they're the world's moral judge. The lease on that high ground has run out. It ran out in Florida courthouse in 2008. It ran out on the private Caribbean island with the Harvard professor as a guest. It ran out this month on the live television when the victim had to watch her abuser's name being blacked out while her own name staying in plain sight.
It's a darn shame. Okay, it's a darn shame. Yeah, this is absolutely an Epstein war. And let me tell you all something. Not only have they been mocking Trump with the Lego videos, but even now at this point, he's such a clown and such an embarrassment to the U.S. Even the Iranian media is clowning him. I'll show you in just a moment.
This is Motorengastan Marhedal. You gave me clearance to go. My name second on your list. You gave me clearance to go. You are fighting now. Let me turn back. That is important. And there is no any permission for you to use from home street. You are ordered to go back to your departure immediately. You are ordered to go back to your departure immediately. Navy.
Now, there was an audio of someone who sounded as if they were Indian. They were going across the strait and then they started getting fired upon. Okay. And they were like, I have my, what did they say? They said, I'm the second name on your list. I'm the second name on your list. Let me turn around. It was like so crazy. Okay. It was so crazy. But hold on. Let's go to them mocking Trump on the news.
No. No. No.
That's exactly how he acts.
No. No.
Exactly how he acts, like a big arse baby, okay? Ridiculous. All that crying and whining. He needs to sit down somewhere. Dramatic audio. Iran closes Strait of Hormuz again. Fires on several commercial ships. Hold on. Is this the same audio we just heard? Let's see. I am so through.
We will open it by the order of our leader, Imam Khamenei, not by the tweets of some idiot. If you want to pass through the strait, you must ask permission from Iranian Sepah Navy. All vessels that have a connection with our enemies will be targeted if they try to pass the Strait of Hormuz out. Motoranga Sanmar Herald, Sepah Navy, you gave me clearance. You gave me clearance to go. Sepah Navy. This is Motoranga Sanmar Herald. You gave me clearance to go. My name second on your list. You gave me clearance to go. You are fighting now. Let me turn back. This is Iranian.
Did y'all hear that? He said, please let me turn back. I know that's right. He said he could go, but now you can't. Well, see how quickly things change and then escalate. Okay, Trump, it's obvious at this point, Trump doesn't want peace. He absolutely doesn't. Okay, and so Iran is saying it's no more talks. They're not having any more talks. It's just a wrap. Okay, they says they will not be joining the second round of peace talks. Meanwhile, I think that Trump's already getting people ready to send to Islamabad. And I don't know why, because Iran's not coming.
Says it will not go to peace talks in Pakistan as long as the U.S. blockade of its ports remains in place. Those talks were meant to begin today, but over the weekend, U.S. forces seized an Iranian-flagged cargo ship near the Strait of Hormuz. That seems to have derailed the process, and this morning the Foreign Ministry spokesperson claimed the U.S. is not serious about pursuing the diplomatic process. American forces seized that Iranian ship after it defied repeated orders to turn around. President Trump posted, the Iranian crew refused to listen, so our Navy ship stopped them right in their tracks by blowing a hole in the engine room. Right now, U.S. Marines have custody of the vessel. Hours earlier, Iran fired on 2 Indian ships, the captain of one ship sending this urgent radio message.
Sepa Navy, this is Motorengastan Marhedar. You gave me clearance to go. My name second on your list. You gave me clearance to go. You are fighting now. Let me turn back.
President Trump still says a peace deal will get done. He told ABC's Jonathan Carr that it will happen one way or another. The nice way or the hard way, it's going to happen. You can quote me. He's hoping fiery rhetoric about a return to war will get Tehran back to the negotiation table.
Unfortunately, we'll have to start dropping bombs again.
The current ceasefire is set to expire Wednesday. The administration is renewing its threats to destroy bridges and power plants across Iran, which could be a violation of international law.
Please pay attention. It's all nefarious. Trump said they're going to have to start back dropping bombs again. He is so ridiculous. Okay, so let's go to Iran's response about all of this, because I'm telling you, something is about to pop off and it's not going to be good. I'm like that dude in the video. They have something up their sleeve. And then pay attention. So you see how they started firing upon India? Now, of course, that's because India is friends, okay, with the U.S. All right, they're friends with the U.S. And so with that all been said, they came out and they let it be known that if you are down with the U.S., that's not their terminology, that's mine, but they basically said, hey, if you're down with the U.S., you're not coming through here, and that's just what it is. We will fire on you. Okay, so I guess that man didn't get the memo, because clearly that's what they already said. Now, here's the response. Okay, they say, you cannot keep violating the international law, double down on your blockade, threaten Iran with further war crimes, insist on unreasonable demands, pace out with rhetorics, and pretend to be pursuing diplomacy. Exactly. As long as the naval blockade remains, fault lines remain. And here's the thing. I saw this MAGA content creator saying that Iran violated the ceasefire agreement. Well, yeah, they did, but Trump violated it first, because immediately after the supposed ceasefire agreement, isn't that when Trump put the blockade out there? What the hell are you putting a blockade out there for, to block the Strait of Hormuz, when you just signed or you just agreed to a ceasefire? Okay, what are you doing? Bafana Duba says Iran is going to assert their dominance, and that Navy better leave whilst it has the chance. I agree. I absolutely agree. Do you know how mad they likely are right about now? You got on their commercial ship, not a military ship, but on a commercial ship, acting like a whole pirate. Okay, they're out there acting like pirates of the high seas. Are they serious? This is all going to turn out bad real quick. Okay, please pay attention. Let's go to the next post. Okay, this is from Al Jazeera. They say top Iranian lawmaker says Tehran stands firm on its preconditions for talks with U.S., a ceasefire in Lebanon, and the release of frozen assets. Okay, well, we know they're not going to release those frozen assets, specifically due to Trump's greed, in my opinion. And then here's the last one. We got to talk about Trump's approval rating, because it's clearly in the tank. Okay, that's just a fact. Let me share my screen. Attack on Iranian container ship by American terrorists. That's what they said. They called them terrorists. Okay, and at this point, that's what they're behaving like. Now, the self-proclaimed greatest military force in the world became the leader of pirates. This is Iran talking. American terrorist military forces attacked an Iranian container ship named Tosca. which was traveling from China to Iran in the Gulf of Oman a few hours ago, or Oman. Now, after the Americans attacked the ship, Iranian forces also attacked some American military ships. Trump didn't say anything about all that, did he? Okay, they attacked the American military ships with drones. Trump claimed a few hours ago that American terrorists have seized this ship. Now, Iran had previously announced that that it would retaliate against any American actions. And that's exactly what they're going to do. This is not going to turn out good. And just so you all know, this woman posted that her son is in the military. She posted a picture of him, and she really was talking about how some of these people, some of these young men and women. Hold on, let me see if I sent that to my. Hold on, beloveds. She talked about how some of them just have low vibrational feelings, basically just don't want to be here. Okay, I'll have to look for that later. Right now, I don't have time. I don't want to sift through all of this stuff. But I just find it very interesting. And then look at what they're feeding them. How are they even in the mood to fight and do battle, and do anything when you're out there? They don't even have food. And the little food they have is not decent food. It looks absolutely disgusting. You all saw it on yesterday. Like, this is all so crazy to me. Okay, so let's go to the next clip. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. So Trump's approval rating, let's talk about it because it's clearly in the pits. I know it has even more so than last week. Trump's approval rating sinking as Americans express growing concern about war in Iran. And this is a report from MS Now.
President Trump's approval rating is sinking as Americans express growing concern about the war in Iran. The latest NBC News poll has Trump's approval at 37%, the lowest of his second term, while 63% disapprove. The poll finds 2/3 of Americans disapprove of Trump's handling of the war with Iran, including 54% who strongly disapprove. This all comes as voters say the economy remains a top concern. According to the poll, 29% say it's the issue that matters the most to them right now, while 24% say threats to democracy, and 12% said healthcare, and 10% said crime and safety. So, Joe, I think one of the problems here is the shifting reasons. I don't think people are understanding why we're even doing this with Iran. Reasons have changed over time. Gas prices have gone up. There hasn't been a real national getting behind this that has been set up by this administration. It sort of came by surprise.
That's one of the great challenges, really, that the president and the White House is facing right now. Could we put up, though, TJ, could we put up the issues that matter the most to Americans? Because this is so telling where we are a year and a half after the 24 election. The bottom three: immigration, crime and safety, and foreign policy. Foreign policy, just because people don't care about foreign policy, even if it's critically important, they just don't care about foreign policy unless things go badly. And they're a lot more concerned about, again, the kitchen table issues. Crime and safety. There's been a historic decline, yes, even during the Biden administration, but a historic decline over the past 3 years or so of a drop in crime across America. If you look at the overall rates, Mamdani had the safest January in New York City on record. That's being, you could say the same in cities across the country. In most places, crime's falling. And finally, immigration. Two things have happened. The southern border is secured. So, that's one of the reasons people aren't so focused on that. But also, the enforcement of immigration is so brutal, has been so brutish, has been so inhumane, has left Americans dead in the streets. That has also dropped, just not as important.
Now, with that all being said, let's go to this next clip.
Has never attacked a neighbor. Israel has repeatedly attacked its neighbors. Iran signed the Non-Proliferation Treaty. Israel has refused to sign. Iran submits to inspection by the International Nuclear Energy Agency. Israel refuses to submit. Iran has no nuclear weapons. Israel has between 75 and 400 nuclear weapons. So Israel poses an existential threat to Iran. For the last 40 years, Israel has conducted a systematic campaign of disinformation about Iran. Why the lies? Why the double standards? Why the hypocrisy?
They weren't close to having a bomb. Okay, we pretended that they were.
Hold on, I need to put an overlay on this, on her video clip.
Because we wanted to please Israel, and Bibi Netanyahu talked us into believing that we could go in there Venezuela style and take out the Ayatollah, and President Trump would be treated like a hero, and he could, have that same feeling he had after Venezuela and after the June bombing of the 3 nuclear sites. It would be super easy. Enough is enough. They're the reason we got into this war. They're the reason we were not able to end it. Now, finally, they've agreed to stop bombing Lebanon. Thanks. So we can actually try to wrap this thing.
Iran has never attacked a neighbor.
I mean, there absolutely is a double standard, but y'all haven't heard anything yet. Let's go to this next clip.
April 19th, 2026, in the very early hours, 12:45 a.m. East Coast time to be specific, as I'm making this video. And this breaking news is something you need to see, you need to hear, and you need to pass forward. Donald Trump's stormtroopers are here, really Stephen Miller's and the Heritage Foundation's and everyone else's. What this is the Homeland Security Task Force website, and it was just recently published within the last 24 hours to the internet. To see it, you will need to visit hstf.gov. And there you can see in bold print, no mistakes, we don't negotiate, we dismantle, with this very dystopian AI type of propaganda. To be clear, this is not ICE. This is not one singular agency. This is a multiple agency, local, state, and federal level force, meaning Donald Trump's regime has quite literally created, as I mentioned, stormtroopers, or if you're into the Hunger Games, peacekeepers. These are people that will be on our streets, no matter what city or county or town or borough you live in. So if we go back through the entirety of that executive order, we find a number of unconstitutional moves by this regime, which is not a surprise, but it's something to know about. Now,
I want you all to pay very close attention to what she's talking about, because didn't I tell you all this about 5 or 6 years ago? Okay, that they're trying to take us into the Hunger Games where they dictate and rule everything, and we're living in a complete and utter police state. Okay, being massively surveilled with people walking around with guns, dictating the narratives of our lives and making people feel uncomfortable and trying to intimidate you. Okay, I told you all this, but let's continue.
One, they are going to not just suggest, but now require that all individuals in the country without documentation register themselves. Remember that app that came out last year? They want them to register themselves, and they will be asked self-incriminating questions. It says outright that they're going to eliminate all the documents they need to deport someone. Due process is over. And this executive order directly calls out other executive orders as part of the plan. Here's a number of them, which, by the way, includes this one, which was strengthening and unleashing America's law enforcement to pursue criminals and protect innocent citizens. And yeah, according to that executive order, which links to the other one, which then links back to the website, do you see how they kind of piece everything? So it's a puzzle you have to put together on your own. According to that, we see that they are asking for military assets to be used in towns like yours and mine, including but not limited to military and national security assets training non-lethal capabilities and personnel can most effectively be utilized to prevent crime. Non-lethal weapons, just being used on our streets. Oh, and if you're on the right side of history and a law enforcement officer, they're going to try and use this section, holding state and local officials accountable, as a way to literally, federally, criminally charge you. They want anyone who is willfully and unlawfully directing the obstruction of criminal law, their criminal law, Trump criminal law, including by directly and unlawfully prohibiting law enforcement officers from carrying out duties necessary for public safety and law enforcement, or unlawfully engaging in discrimination or civil rights violations under the guise of diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives that restrict law enforcement and activities and endanger citizens. This is illegal. It is unconstitutional. It will make our law enforcement officers at the state and local levels either comply or be charged criminally. This is the makings of something that looks like a civil war. This is the makings of not just, shredding our Constitution, but then shredding it and lighting it on fire. And any American, left, right, up, down, black, white, old, young, doesn't matter. Any American who believes in the Constitution should be just rising up in the streets over something like this. And if you don't believe this is how they're thinking, go look at the website yourself. Federal, state, and local law enforcement working as one. Again, this is not ICE. This is a regime. These are the Gestapo. And this is the beginning of locking us in.
She is not lying. Everything that she said and everything that she expressed is absolutely true. Okay? It's not a game. It is not a game. So please pay attention. It's all about to get real ugly. Okay? It's all about to get real ugly. And also, there was something else I wanted to tell you all. What they're doing to these teenagers. Hold on. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Yeah, you all listen to this. This is what they're doing to the black youth. Now listen to this, because this is absolutely nefarious. And this is your lifelines for today, because if you have teenage sons or daughters, grandchildren, you better be paying attention, because this is not a game. What they're doing is absolutely nefarious, okay? And I just happened to come across this video when I was scrolling TikTok.
Texas DPS has been tricking teenagers on social media, telling them that they're just giving someone a ride, but then when they get there, charging them for human smuggling of an undocumented person. Listen.
I received a text message on Snapchat saying me and some friends need to take a ride from one place to the next, and they would pay for my gas, and they would give me $1,200. I didn't think anything of it. I just thought I was going to give them a ride, and I was going to get paid. Fast forward, when I got to the location where I was supposed to pick them up, there was no one in sight. That's when I seen state trooper lights behind me. And when I got pulled over, I didn't have anyone in my vehicle. The interaction with the officers were terrifying. I spent 3 months in Briscoe unit, and I lost my opportunity to join the National Guard.
This all came to light during a hearing for the bill that Texas is trying to pass, SB4, which would be a mandatory 10-year sentence for anyone who's caught human smuggling. Now, this is a problem on social media where teenagers are being lured with big sums of cash to pick up someone and drive them to another state, but they don't know that this could bring on a charge of human smuggling. So instead of working with social media companies or putting on information like, hey, teenagers, don't do this, it's a crime, they're setting up operations to ruin young people's lives. So the Texas
setting up purposeful operations to ruin young people's lives. They don't care anything about entrapment, Dark Tube. They've been finished with entrapment. You should know that by now. When they do these police things, they always entrap people. Okay, they lie and tell you. If you ask them, are they a police officer? They're supposed to tell you the truth. They will lie. Okay, they will straight set you up. When they do these things, it's always with entrapment. So that's a thing of the past. That's been gone. Now, with that all being said, I want you all to pay attention, because here's the thing. Not only are they going to be doing this, but in fact, they have other people who don't look like me that do these things with them. And let me give you an example, because I know that you all should remember Do you all, yeah, they literally put ads on Craigslist begging for rides. Exactly. But do you all remember that I told you all this story that happened to my friend's sister? So my friend's sister was like 18 in college. Her boyfriend's like 18 in college. One day they're leaving the grocery store. This guy that doesn't look like me comes up to them and says, just starts a friendly conversation and then asks them what they do or whatever. They said they're college students. And he asked the boyfriend if he wants to make some extra cash. And he says, yes. He says, what, doing what? He says that he's building a deck and he needs this specific kind of wood, and it's at some little place in the country, probably about an hour from Atlanta. But he tells him to go down there. If he goes down there and picks up the wood or whatever, he's going to pay him. I forgot how much, hundreds of dollars he's going to pay him, but he tells him to go down there and get it. He's going to pay for it in advance on his credit card, all this and that. So the guy gets a truck. Hold on, you right, Queen, right here in Texas too. Yeah, exactly. So the guy gets a truck and his friend to help him, and they drive down there. Well, my friend's sister, she follows them in her car. When they get there, the guy has already told them it's already paid for. Just go start loading it on the truck. I already called them and told them who you are, what kind of vehicle you're driving, and all of that. So they go and get there and they start loading the wood onto the truck. The owner comes out and like, what do you all think you're doing? And they're like, oh, we're here to pick up so-and-so's wood. He already called in. He's already paid for it. He told us that he already talked to you all of this and that. They were like, we don't know what you're talking about. And so they called the police and they were all arrested. Even the sister, who was not even out there helping them load the wood, she was sitting in her vehicle, but she was arrested for being like an accomplice. Okay, so long story short, they all had to go to trial, and they ended up taking, well, they didn't go to trial. They ended up taking plea deals. But every deal that they offered left them being convicted felons. And these were college students. They never had a criminal history. They were not some thugs. My friend's father is an airplane pilot. So these are not some thugs. These are innocent children or teenagers who were in college trying to do the right thing, and they were just trying to make some extra money. Okay, this was all set up, and even the people that owned the wood store, the shop, they were in on it too. The guy called them, and yeah, he did call them and tell them that they were coming so they could have them arrested. So I want you all to pay attention. And also, if you remember a few years ago, I told you, I reported on a story how in Chicago, they were putting like these huge semi trucks in neighborhoods where they had lots of teenagers or whatever, and they would have like Nike shoes on the back of the truck and leave the trucks open and then unlocked, and then the kids would steal the shoes and they go to jail. Now you may say, well, they shouldn't have been stealing. Well, of course they shouldn't have been stealing, but when you're putting something like that in a poor neighborhood, you already know that they're going to steal. And just like I said back then, if they did the same thing in the white suburban neighborhoods, those teenagers would steal too, because that's just what teenagers will do. Okay, so don't act like it's they try to act like it's just black thugs, teenagers, but white kids steal too. And the white kids will steal even when they have money. Okay, even when they have two parents in the homes and live in the suburbs, they will absolutely steal. Okay, I remember in high school, there was a group of 6 white boys that they were labeled the mini market bandits because they were going around robbing convenience stores. And when we all found out who it was right before graduation, when they got caught, we're thinking, why in the hell would they have been stealing anything? Every last one of them was rich. A couple of them I knew since like elementary. And I'm like, are y'all serious? But yeah, so doesn't matter. It can be black poor people, but at the end of the day, white teenagers still too, like I said, but they don't want to ruin their lives. They want to ruin the lives of black children. And so that's why they're doing this. Can you imagine calling them or telling them you need a ride, you're going to pay them, and then you get arrested for smuggling, sentenced to 10 years? And you don't even realize you did anything wrong. And see, this is the thing. I want you all to pay attention, because that's why during the Diddy trial, okay, some stupid people were sitting here lying on Diddy and just so mad and going in on the jurors because Diddy didn't get the RICO and the trafficking. But what I told you all then is the same thing. Those of us who had sense, we were trying to tell you, it's not that we're caping for Diddy. Okay, we know Diddy is nefarious. He just didn't do those things that they said he did. Okay, but we know he beat Cassie and the other stuff or whatever. But those things he was not guilty of. The problem with that was they were trying to set a precedent. Had he gotten convicted from that, that would have been the standard. You could have been dating a woman who lives in another state, fly her out to come and see you, and they can charge you with trafficking if something goes wrong. Do you all get it? I want you all to pay attention because all of these things are an attack on the Black community. And by the way, when I told you all about those homeless people being put in those camps in Utah, concentration camps, that's what I call them, I told you all that they're likely going to make them be slaves, have them working for free. Well, now someone told me the other day that they're absolutely going to have to be doing free labor, enslaving people. What do you all think about it? Okay, why do you think that companies like JP Morgan Chase are buying up all of these properties, all of these private homes, 3-family homes and all of that? Because they don't want people to own their own homes nor their own businesses. They want you to be solely dependent upon these elite, these big companies and the government. So that when they decide not to do something for you or give you something, then that's what they're going to do. Okay? Please pay attention. Now, with that all being said, let's talk about Project Esther, and then I'm out of here. I think I actually have one more thing. Let me see here. I'll check in a second. But anyway, listen, this is Project Esther. Okay, it's very interesting to me. I'm going to share my screen because I went to Google, and this also is from the Heritage Foundation. Okay, just like Project 2025. And we all know who makes up the Heritage Foundation. Please pay attention. Now, with that all being said, I'm going to let you see for yourselves because I went to Google just for them to give us like a summary of it so I don't have to sit here and read the whole thing. I'm going to enlarge it. Now look at this. I said summarize Project Esther. Okay, so Project Esther, released in October of 2024 by the Heritage Foundation, is a 44-page policy blueprint titled A National Strategy to Combat Anti-Semitism. Well, I wish they would have something to combat racism against or anti-Black hate. But they'll never do that because they don't give a darn. Anyway, it goes on to say, it aims to dismantle what it defines as a global Hamas support network. Okay, operating within the United States, targeting pro-Palestinian organizations, campus activists, and progressive groups within 12 to 24 months. So you mean to tell me that nobody's allowed to speak up for Palestine? How the hell does that even make sense? If you want to speak up for Palestine, why is that anybody's business? Why does everybody have to bow and bend to one group? You can't speak up for other people too? What if you're just speaking up in general and saying that both of the sides need to stop fighting? Or whatever. But this is all crazy. Okay, so that all being said, led by Victoria Coates and Robert Greenway, the project is framed as a lawfare initiative designed to use legal, financial, and political tools to crack down on advocacy. Pay attention to the wording, advocacy for Palestinian rights, which it labels as anti-Semitic and supportive of terrorism. Now, how in the world is any group who advocates for the rights of Palestinians? Aren't the Palestinians human beings? Aren't they living, breathing human beings like every other living being on this planet? So you mean to tell me if you are an advocate for their rights, that is labeled as anti-Semitic? What if you're not saying anything hateful about the Israelis? If you're not saying anything hateful about them, how is that anti-Semitic? Because you're supporting them. And then they're going to label it as terrorism. They already have supportive of terrorism. Where's the terror in that? Okay, make it all make sense. So dismantling the HSN, that's the Hamas, what did they call it? That's the Hamas support network. Now, it goes on to say the project seeks to expose and disrupt the funding, communications, and activities of organizations such as American Muslims for Palestine, known as AMP, Students for Justice in Palestine, known as SJP, and Jewish Voice for Peace, JVP. So even their own people who speak out for Palestine. And also, by the way, Netanyahu likes to call those sort of people self-hating Jews. That's what he likes to call them, as if they are not not allowed to make their own decision. I want you all to pay attention, because what this says to me is that we don't get to think for ourselves. We don't get to make our choices of who we want to support or who we want to stand behind. And you better not dare to say it, even if you're thinking it, because they'll have you locked up. Next, they'll come up with some sort of nefarious mind reading technology and say that, oh, you were thinking thoughts that are absolutely formed in terrorism, like the Minority Report. Now, with that all being said, let's continue. So they go on to say, now listen to this. Legal and financial action recommends using the RICO Act, Foreign Agent Registration Laws, and anti-terrorism legislation to investigate and prosecute activists and organizations. Well, isn't that interesting? So you can get charged with a RICO? Let's continue. University and K through 12 targeting urges cutting federal funding to universities that allow protests. So the universities cannot allow you to enact your First Amendment right to peacefully protest, freedom of speech. That's out the window, according to this. And mind you, this is from Google. Okay, we know who owns Google. Now, with that all being said, they're going to cut the funding, federal funding, to universities that allow protests, firing faculty, and sanitizing curricula of content deemed anti-Israel. What is this? What kind of world and what kind of nefarious project is this? Who are these people that no one can criticize them? And not that you're saying anything hateful, but if you just agree with their policy or you agree with them, what's going on in Gaza, how is that a crime? How is that a crime? And furthermore, how is America letting them do this? Now, I could see if they were doing that over in Is Not Real, but how are they doing this in the United States? Okay? How are they doing this in the United States is my question. But let's continue. I mean, that guy in that video the other day that I played, he did say that they control the biggest country in the world. Didn't he say that? The most powerful country in the world? That's what he said. So he may have been onto something. Now, with that all being said, immigration enforcement calls for revoking visas and deporting foreign students or faculty involved in pro-Palestinian demonstrations. This is a way to silence anybody that wants to speak out for the Palestinians, just like Princess Diana was silenced, according to the UK's former intelligence officer that spoke out about that. Targeting complacency. The report claims the American Jewish community is too complacent and seeks to force a unified, hardline stance against critics of Is Not Real. Implementation and criticism. Released on the one-year anniversary of the October 7, 2023 attack, Project Esther is considered a companion piece to Project 2025 and a guide for a second Trump administration. Implementation. So by April of 2025, reports indicated that Trump's administration had implemented or acted upon over half of the 47 proposals, including conducting visa revocations and campus investigations. So this is already in effect right now. Criticism. Critics, including Jewish advocacy groups like JVP and Nexus Project, argue that Project Esther is an authoritarian Christian nationalist document that uses anti-Semitism as a smokescreen to silence speech, suppress the left, and dismantle democratic norms. Well, of course, that's what it is. Okay, no lies detected. Absence of right-wing focus. Now listen to this piece right here. Observers note that the document ignores white supremacist or right-wing anti-Semitism, focusing exclusively on left-wing criticism of Is Not Real. So the people on the right can talk trash about them all they want. That's interesting because they're the main ones who talk trash about them. The neo-Yazis, those people, they're on the right. So I find it interesting that they're just going to let them slide according to this and then target the people on the left. Don't y'all find that interesting? Because I sure as hell do. Okay, I sure as hell do. Very. Hold on, beloveds. let's go on to the next clip. I think I have just a couple of more. So this guy did a video about this the missing scientist. Now this is what I thought was interesting. Let's get into it. Now you have to pay attention because he's talking almost in riddles because he's trying to be very careful of what he says because he claims that his other video was taken down.
Hi people, do you know why my head is backwards? Because this is the backstory. Have you heard about the scientists that died or disappeared? Actually, it is only 9. 2 were staff, administrative staff. But I did a little bit of a digging. And 2 of the scientists have something that is directly related to the gravity stuff that I mentioned in one of my videos that was blocked. The gravity stuff that will happen in August 2026.
Okay, so what he's saying here, because he's going to be taking a minute, but let me just speed it up. He's basically saying that 2 of these scientists who turned up missing or whatever, they had something to do with this gravity report. So according to some people online, this is a conspiracy theory, I can do a report on it if you all want me to, later or whatever. But the bottom line is there's something that people are talking about called Project Anchor. Project Anchor states that it's supposedly a document that was leaked by NASA that says that on August the 12th of 2026, the Earth is going to lose gravity for 7 seconds. Now, 7 seconds doesn't sound like a long time, but you can think about what happens if there's no gravity for any amount of time. Just imagine cars and trucks and human beings flying through the air at a high rate of speed. So this is what he's talking about. Now, I don't believe this. Let me just say, I don't believe it because how do you lose gravity? Absolutely, it's not going to happen. Okay, but this is what a lot of people think, and this is what he's talking about. But he seems to feel that 2 of these scientists are missing because they were working on something as it pertained to gravity. So let's continue.
The 2 scientists are Nuno Loureiro and Amy Eskridge. Now, actually, Amy Eskridge passed of under difficult circumstances. Her father doesn't want to talk about it. But she actually was working on anti-gravity stuff. And she was trying to get a machine to actually reverse the effects and or cancel the effects of gravity. Dr. Loureiro was working on plasma dynamics. In his research, what he was actually considering was levitation. These are practical uses of their research. There are many. If you're involved with the science, you know about the basic research, advanced research, and then all of that process. My point is this. Remember that they said that in August 2026, things were going to start for 7 seconds. So they're saying, stay inside, don't go out, tie your pet, your chicken's gonna fly. These 2 scientists that actually are no longer with us, both of them were working on classified research.
Okay, so basically he's saying that they had something to do with that Project Anchor or whatever, and we're working on some classified stuff. And supposedly one of them was asked to speak before Congress or speak somewhere, and said they couldn't do it because they wanted her to show the female said that they wanted her to show her research, what she had discovered from what she was studying or whatever, and she said she couldn't do it, and they asked her why she couldn't do it, and she said because she would have to get NASA's approval, and he said she never got it. So I don't know, honey, this is all crazy. He's saying stay in the house, but at the end of the day, I mean, this all just sounds crazy to me. I don't believe any of it, just from research and physics and stuff like that. I don't believe that the Earth would ever lose gravity for 7 seconds or any amount of time. Now, the last thing I want to report on is this. Okay, so Spain's Pedro Sanchez urges the EU to break association agreement with Izzy within 48 hours. Within 48 hours, break the agreement with Is Not Real. And here's why. He says, they said the announcement did not come out of the blue. Days earlier, Sanchez had been called to the EU to suspend its association agreement with Is Not Real after what he described as the heaviest Is Not Real attack on Lebanon since the start of the offensive. Now, on Sunday, that appeal hardened into a firm pledge with a date set for action. And so here's what he says. The time has come for the EU to break its association agreement with Is Not Real. We have nothing against the people of Is Not Real. On the contrary, but a government that violates international law and therefore the principles and values of the EU cannot be our partner, not to war. Okay, so that's what he said. Listen, I'm out of here. I want to thank you all for tuning in. Please like, share, subscribe. Also, double check to make sure that you're still subscribed, because people get unsubscribed every day. Okay, so I will see you all. I'm going to be back at 3:30. Listen closely. I'm going to be back at 3:30. When I come back, we're going to talk about several topics, but one of them will be the updated report, okay, on Ashley Janae. I have a bit more information on that. But so we'll have an update on that when I come back, 3:30. Okay, so everyone be sure to tune in. Hit the like button on your way out if you haven't done so already. I want to tell you all, I love you all to life. I hope you enjoy the rest of this beautiful day. Each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember to keep the Most High first in your lives. Also, let me just say, if you missed last night's broadcast on Melania and the women speaking out against her, please go back and watch, okay? It was a lot of information in there. So I will talk to you all again. Peace, love, and blessings. Also, did I say be sure to keep the Most High first in your lives? I don't remember if I said that or not, but make sure you always do it, especially in these times, okay? Everybody needs to stay prayed up. This is spiritual warfare, people, and it's only going to get worse before it gets better. All right? Peace.
Gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen. Why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunta. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. See a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all at Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threats. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I I do not play by my piece. This time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got